Today we're going to talk about the 5 most worthless animals you can keep on a homestead. Don't miss this one. When people first get into homesteading, they're asking the question, how can I do this and not fail? Chances are you're probably going to fail, and that's okay. That's part of the learning process. But the way you can succeed quicker, faster, easier is by avoiding some of the landmines that other people have stepped in over the years, and I have seen some doozies, ladies and gentlemen. Before we get into that, let's talk about today's sponsor of this video, and that is the OUPES. This is amazing. The OUPES Guardian 6000. This is a 6,000 watt full home power unit that you can, it doesn't get any more plug and play than this. This is coming out here very shortly. It's going to be launched on November 25th. It's going to be at a price of like $1,700, $1,699. If you've ever wanted a emergency home backup power system, this is it. It's 120, 240 volt portable power station that you can have to power your entire home. Again, this is about as plug and play as you're ever going to get. We'll do a full video review coming out on November 25th. Stay tuned for that. Also, if you're interested in more information, there's a link for the OUPES website down below. Now, back to the video. So when most people get into homesteading, they're first thinking about how to do things right, do things correctly without the least amount of trouble. And one of the things I try to tell people when you get into homesteading is to get your homestead at a production level as quickly as possible. You need to start producing, because if you do that, you're going to start offsetting some of the expenses that you've incurred on getting into homesteading. And if you're like me and most other people, you have it's not cheap. Nothing's cheap. It's not cheap to build fencing. It's not cheap to build a house on a homestead, a raw piece of land. It's not cheap to clear land or build a driveway on a raw piece of land. You're doing all these things, and so you're incurring a lot of cost. You're depleting a lot of savings that you may have had going into this. And so the way you start to offset that is to make your homestead as productive as possible, as quickly as possible. And so that's usually why people get into chickens, because you can get chickens and then fairly quickly, after those chickens become of age, start getting eggs. And that's one thing you're not producing, or you're not buying you're producing on your own and not buying at the supermarket. And so you're starting to offset some costs. And once you get into a survival mode of homesteading, you get out of that survival mode, you get into maintenance mode, you get into production mode, you begin to see a lot of the savings of homesteading that homesteading can bring to you and your family. What is a detriment to that, all of that, is buying things that are going to be high maintenance. They're going to be troublesome. They're going to take way more time than they're worth at keeping them alive, keeping them functional, and some things that just don't and will never produce for you ever in your lifetime of a homestead owner. So let's talk about some of these things. 5 animals that are just the most worthless animals I have seen on people's homesteads, and I tell people, do not have these. There's no real reason for you to have these animals. We're going to go to the top 5, and then we'll have an honorable mention at the end. Stay tuned. So the first one, number 5, if you haven't guessed already, it's going to be goats. I have said long and often on my channel, goats are worthless. If you want to raise goats, if you think they're cute, fine. You do goats. But those of us who've been in this game a little bit longer, who have had goats multiple times, including myself, I've lived around goats 2 different times in my life. Goats are like teenagers who have found the keys to daddy's liquor cabinet, and they are drunk and going crazy. That's exactly what goats do. Goats get up every single day and say, how can I destroy something, or how can I kill myself today? If you want goats, fine, but you're making your life harder. You do you. Those of us, again, who've been in this game a little bit longer, we like sheep. Sheep are easy. They often go astray, but they are quick to respond to the shepherd's voice. Goats are like, you put up a fence, I bet I can get over that. I bet I can get through that. I bet I can get under that. And if I don't, I'm probably going to kill myself trying to do so. If you're a goat owner, you know what I speak is true. Now, there are a few breeds of goats that are a little more mild-mannered. A few. But if you want to do that, fine. But listen, the first time you walk outside your door and you see the goats standing on top of your car, you brought this on yourself. I don't care. There's a reason why at the end of the age, the creator of heaven and earth separates the sheep from the goats. There's a reason for that. Moving on to number 4. It's going to be horses. Now, listen, here's the deal. Why don't you like horses, Zach? Because they're money pits. They are a money pit. Yes, I know horses can be useful. Yes, I know that they can have a job on the homestead, but this is not 1860 anymore. Okay, we have tractors, we have trucks. And while horses can provide a service, and there are people even here who use horses for different types of jobs. We have a guy here who has horses. He uses horses to hunt hogs, to keep the hog population at bay. He kills hundreds of hogs per year, and he uses horses to do so. Fantastic. And there are people I've met on my channel who are in the comment section who use horses to haul logs out of the forest. They're a logging company, and they use horses. They use mules, things like that. It's fine. Okay, great. Your horse has a job. I'm talking to you homesteaders out there who get a piece of land, you put up some fencing, you've got more money than sense, and you're like, what would go great here? A couple of horses. Are we going to ride them? Maybe, sometimes. But, eventually, the novelty wears off and they become a giant money sucker that just drains your bank account because you're constantly feeding them. They eat like a horse, and they're not providing any real service. And they have their upkeep. They need to be brushed. They need to be shoed. Farriers need to come in. You have all kinds of upkeep that you have to do with horses that just they're not producing anything. You're not eating your horse. You're not raising horses to eat them. You're not putting them in the freezer camp. So why? In this day and age, we don't need them. It's fun to look at. They're great toys for rich people. If you have disposable income that you just like to light on fire, fantastic. But horses really today as a homesteader are not needed. Now, let's just say the grid goes sideways and everything just goes nuts and we don't have fuel now to put into my tractor or to put into my pickup truck. Horses will come back online in a few years. The breeders will start coming in and you'll be able to get horses again if we need them, if the grid doesn't return, if we live in the Stone Ages from here on out, which could happen. Yes, then horses will be great at that point, and people will start breeding them again, for that purpose. But right now, I just don't see the need, and they are a giant money-sucking pit. All right, number 3, and this is going to be one that I think a lot of you you have seen someone like this, and that is chickens. Yes, I said chickens. Now, I'm not talking about the chickens that are producing eggs. I'm not talking about chickens that you're using to put into freezer camp because they're fryers. Okay, I'm talking about chickens that have lived past their age and you just can't get rid of them because they're pets. It's like Henrietta after Henopause. She's just not producing anymore. She's taking up space. You're feeding her every day, and she's just walking around the farm, enjoying life, and she's sucking down your bank account. There's a reason why people would put those into pots and they would make chicken stock out of those old birds. If you're keeping a bunch of chicken pets just because you love them, that's fine. You can do that. But let me tell you, you're just making your life harder. You're making your life more financially difficult. What people have normally done on homesteads to be sustainable, to provide for themselves, is they would take those birds once they stop producing and they would put them in a pot, make them into stock. They would pressure cook them, and then they would consume them or feed them to pets. That's something you could also do. Take a raw chicken and feed it to you. You can feed, everyone's like, you can't feed chicken to dogs. I feed chicken to my dogs every single day almost. Well, every other day. And the bones. Why? Because they're raw. You can do that with raw chicken. You can't do that with cooked chicken. But you can take these old birds and it's dog food. Okay, and the dogs will eat them. And you want to make sure they're quartered and everything so the dogs can't recognize them for what they once were. That would be bad because then they'll be like, oh, there's a whole yard full of these things. But as long as you rinse them off, quarter them, so they're not recognizable anymore, the dog won't. I do that again. The dog does all the time. Lots of my friends do the exact same thing here, and they have no problems. But it's like, take these old birds and use them. Do not let them continue to suck down your bank account and feeding them. A bunch of freeloading slackers is not what makes a producing homestead. Okay. Number 2, miniatures. And I see this quite a lot. I see a lot of people who get a homestead, they get some land, they get their fencing in, and they're like, oh, those miniature horses. It's a horse, number 1, but it's a miniature horse. So it really serves no purpose at that point other than giving, free rides to your, 3-year-old if you have one, or maybe the neighbor's 3-year-old. It's like completely pointless. These things are not survivable in the wild. Their entire purpose of existence is your entertainment. And these things are not good for a homestead. Miniature horses, miniature donkeys. We've had donkeys before here on my homestead. We had a full-size female mammoth donkey. Was fantastic at livestock protection. The females are fantastic. Female donkeys, the full-size mammoths. But the miniatures, absolutely worthless. They're not going to. Do you think? Listen, I have seen pictures of a miniature holding a mountain lion. A full-size mammoth female holding a mountain lion in her mouth. A mountain lion. It kicked it. Those things are like laser beams. They're like laser. Their hindquarters are like laser beams. They can nail things that are coming right at them. A female donkey will kill a mountain lion. A female donkey will kill multiple coyotes. They're absolutely amazing, but a miniature will not. There's no way a miniature stands a chance against a predator, whether it's a horse or a donkey. Doesn't matter. All these things are worthless. You're feeding them. It's pure entertainment. There's no reason to have this. Number one, then we'll get to the honorable mention. Alpacas and llamas. And I see this a lot on homesteads. Guys, you're not going to eat an alpaca. No one has ever said, oh, that alpaca steak last night was fantastic. And you have to cut their hair. You have to shear them. You have to shear their wool. That's a lot of work. As someone who had Shropshire sheep before in the past, which were wool producers, I know that shearing wool is an art form. You see these people on YouTube on these videos, and they're just like flipping these things over, and they're shearing down, and just, like this, and it looks amazing. Let me tell you, those people have years of experience in doing that and not hurting that animal. I have hurt a lot of sheep trying very carefully, very, very carefully to be very meticulous. And I still hurt these sheep and felt horrible afterwards. I can't imagine doing that to an alpaca who is gigantic, who doesn't have the option not to stand still. Like, I can take a sheep and throw it on its back and it ain't going to do nothing. It's just going to do whatever I want it to do. But an alpaca or a llama, you have to shear them. That's a lot of work. And it's not easy work. And if you don't know what you're doing, you're going to hurt that animal and you're going to feel horrible about it. And you can't eat them. It's not like they're producing eggs or babies or milk. I mean, I guess you could get llama milk. I guess you could get alpaca milk. I'm sure it's probably not first on your list of, drinks that you order out for. But I don't know why you'd keep these animals on your homestead. Again, they're pure entertainment value. You're going to have to feed them. They're going to eat a lot, and they're going to eat down your fields. If you have a lot of land, great, but they're eventually going to need feed in the wintertime. You're going to have to buy hay for them, and you're not getting anything from it.
Tina, you fat lard, come get some dinner.
I want you to be a producing homestead where you can get these products that you can raise and grow, and it's going to offset your grocery bill. It's going to offset your overall bills. That's what you're shooting for. If you're in the homesteading for entertainment and for just enjoying life and not you have a disposable income, this isn't the channel for you. Go find the other channel. Go find other channels that just have unbelievable amounts of money. And you can, look at I think there's one out there called Useless Farm where she has the ostriches or the emus or whatever it is that keep trying to kill her. That's a great channel. Watch that channel. All right. Alpacas and llamas. So honorable mention goes to ducks and geese. Ducks and geese is the final one for honorable mention. And that's because the ducks and the geese, if you're raising these for meat production, great. Fantastic. Eggs, fine. Fantastic. But a lot of people that I know who keep ducks and geese, or I have met throughout the years who have ducks and geese, don't do any of that. They like them as ornaments on their homestead. They're ornamentals. They like the way they look. They like the way they waddle through the yard. They like the way they sound. Fine. Okay, great. But all you're doing is making life harder. You're not only that, but you're also going to draw in predators who are going to think they're an easy meal, whether they are or they aren't. You're going to have to build some sort of shelter for these ducks or for these geese so that they have a safe place to sleep at night, because you will get predators to come in. And so all you're doing is expending income, your money, for something that doesn't produce for you. Again, if you're using them for meat and eggs, great, fantastic. But if you're not, all you're doing is making life harder. And I don't want your life to be hard. So there you go. What do you think? Number one, did I miss anything? What's a worthless homesteading animal that you have encountered? I have met people who have zebras. I'm like, a zebra? What, really? But that's a little bit more extreme. I don't see that very often. There was camels. I saw one with a camel. You don't see that very often, but you do see it. The ones I see the most are the goats, the horses, the old chickens, people who just don't have the heart to kill Henrietta, even though she's gone through menopause. And the miniatures and the alpacas and the llamas, those are the ones I see the most. And then the geese and the ducks. But what have I missed? Can you think of one that people often have that really is a drain on the homestead? Or do you know, or do you disagree? Do you think, alpacas and llamas? I mean, yes, you can get the wool and sell the wool, but I'm telling you right now, as someone who has sold wool from sheep, you don't make that much money on it. You're not going to go into the alpaca wool business and become a tycoon, okay? Not unless you have a lot of land and a lot of alpacas. Having 2 or 3 alpacas or 2 or 3 llamas is not going to set you up. You're not going to make any money. You're going to be for the year, you're going to be at a loss. Guaranteed, 100%. Don't argue with me. You're going to be at a loss. So, yes, you can use some of these animals for some sort of production, maybe here and there, but you're not going to offset any costs that you're going to incur. You're just not. Disagree with me? Leave a comment below. Let me know how wrong I am. I would love to hear you explain this one. Alpaca milk. That's what you want. Alpaca milk. Hey, it's better than Bill Gates milk. It's better than that Indo milk or that milk created in a lab, bioreactor milk. Probably, at least. Just a reminder on the OUPES Guardian 6000. It's coming out November 25th. If you want more information about that, there's a link in the description below. Check it out. And we'll talk more about it on November 25th when the video review comes out. See you next time in the homestead. Bye. One of the best perks about living off-grid is that I never pay an electric bill. I love being my own power company, but that means when things go wrong, I have to be the one on call. So I try and use reliable components for my power production. For the last couple of years, I have been promoting OUPES solar generators. I've been using them and abusing them, and as it turns out, they are pretty good products. They have power generators for all occasions, and they can be charged by permanent or portable solar panels, as well as AC power. They offer true lithium iron phosphate batteries, and this is important. Recently, a family in my area had a different brand that uses the less stable nickel manganese cobalt or NMC type batteries. The unit caught fire in the middle of the night. It was a scary situation and it caused damage to the home, but thankfully nobody was hurt. The generator, as you can see, was a total loss. This drives home the point on why it's so important to employ solar generators like the OUPES brand that uses the much more safe and stable technology of lithium iron phosphate, otherwise called LiFePO4. They offer small generators for travel or for powering an entire home and everything in between. These are great backups to have in a medical emergency or to power a freezer full of your favorite meat products, or as I have shown in past videos, for even backup AC and DC power sources for ham radio communications. If the grid goes down, you're going to be thankful you have one of these units. You can find the link in the description of this video or click on the banner ad found on the front page of our website, AnAmericanHomestead.com. Right here, that banner ad, right there, on AnAmericanHomestead.com. Hey guys, did you know you can become a patron of An American Homestead? They get access to private videos, and we send them gifts from the homestead that we make here on the homestead. And we also enter our patrons into special giveaways that are only available to them. And before you go, please check out these other great videos. Go ahead, click. Oh wait.